We don't care about the kids no more. Yes, we do not care about the kids no more. I'm gonna be so real with y'all, my videos are catered for people who are quite grown. I don't make anything for 10-year-olds here, but I've been noticing a lot of the time in 2024, we don't really have a clear-cut distinction between adult stuff and kid stuff. And see, when I'm talking about adult stuff, I'm not really talking about taxes, owning a house, or even starting a family. I'm mainly talking about the things we interact with. And I get it, Bluey is a thing as well for little kids to watch. But realistically, most kids are out here watching the same things you are as a grown adult. I remember as a kid, I used to sit down every single day and watch a bunch of cartoons. And I really wouldn't step into the adult side until I reached the age of 16. The moment I would even glance an adult show, my mom would get on my ass so quick. Because if the rating was M, MA15, or even R, I wasn't even able to watch nothing. And this was the same standard held for video games and movies as well. Because to even get these games, you either had to have an older brother or your parents had to be so damn lenient that you were allowed to do whatever you wanted. But if I even thought of trying, my parents would whip me so bad. And when I'm talking about thinking of the children, I'm mainly referring to the idea of how children will interact with the media that's out there. And this media goes from TV, music, video games, and even movies. And I'm not really trying to put it on to nobody about the content that they be putting out, but let's be so real, the type of kids that are coming out in this day and age are kind of crazy. And in my personal opinion, a lot of it comes from not only the people around them, but the type of content that they be interacting with. Especially for the fact that kids are not stupid. Because we all know kids mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. And because of this, they are quite literally sponges for information. If you teach a child correctly, they could be molded into quite literally anything that you want. So why is it that not only parents are not watching their kids and what they're doing, but the media also that they're interacting with is quite literally used to exploit them every single day? It's kind of crazy too, because it kind of feels like parents don't even want to parent no more, because a lot of the time they just put a screen in front of their kids' faces and keep it rolling. And we know a lot of the time they're doing smooth brain activities on them screen. Because why I catch my little cousin watching ass shaking videos on TikTok? But realistically, we've done the studies and we've done the tests. We know for a fact that those are the type of videos that pop up on the screens on fresh accounts 24/7. This is literal child exploitation, and at the end of the day, it really just draws them into horrible role models, garbage, gutter trash music, and probably some of the worst lifestyles plaguing young adults to this day. And this is what I don't understand, because a lot of the time, parents don't even interact with their kids to even know what they be watching for real. These kids will never have the chance to even grow up the same way that their parents did at all. Because not only in this day and age are kids not allowed to go outside and play, but a lot of the time they're literally cooped up inside interacting with who knows what. And along with this, they end up picking up traits that they see in school and outside every single day. And see, because of all this parental ignorance, a lot of the time kids don't even get the chance to live a proper life for real. And see, I'm not even trying to disrespect nobody at all, but in all honesty, it's really becoming a bigger issue every single day. More and more, we're seeing different interactions with children and other people around them, and a lot of the time it just doesn't go well whatsoever. And this is caused by a plethora of different issues, but not gonna lie, I'm sticking to just parenting and content right now. And it really does seem like I'm yapping, but at the end of the day, y'all gotta see it like this, because a lot of the time we don't even know what they're watching to begin with. Let me show you some. When it comes to content, a lot of the times kids are not taken into consideration whatsoever. And we get to see examples of it when we start seeing our little 12-year-old, 10-year-old little cousins dancing like Speed. This type of stuff really makes me uncomfortable, because in all honesty, I could be sitting on my phone laughing at this, knowing that I would never do this to myself. But unknowingly, there's always gonna be some little dude just doing this type of dance randomly in their hallway. But I'm gonna be so honest with y'all, a lot of the time we have to realize that content creators don't really make content specifically for kids. And I'm not really referring to the dudes that specifically make content for little children, but I'm mainly talking about the people who end up falling into playing a role, because at the end of the day, it really isn't their fault that their kids are watching their stuff and mimicking their behavior. Like I said before, kids mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. And like I said before, this really stems from what's occurring in the household, because let's be so real, no matter what Cenat, Speed, or anyone else is doing, we have to understand that at the end of the day, kids just watch them because they find them to be entertaining. If you're an adult adult or a grown person and disagree with what they're watching, you have to go out of your way and stop those kids from watching what they're watching. And if you really want to be a good parent, you teach them discernment. Let them choose not to interact with the trash and let them try to interact with something that they know can be better and more beneficial for their understanding. And because of this, it really just feels like parents don't even give a damn about their kids. And I'm not saying every parent is at fault for this, but let's be so real. The urbanized parents really need to smarten the heck up, bruh. Because there's no damn way that all this type of stuff is so easily accessible to them. Because you don't know the basics of actually parenting, a lot of the time you don't train or teach your kid nothing. Most of the information that they be recycling to your face is literally off TikTok and social media. Especially in this modern time period where your phone knows more about your kids than you do yourself. Most parents are barely even home enough to even interact with their child once in a while. And even when they are home, a lot of the time they're either sleeping or just ignoring their kids. And this gives their children ample time to access all these different types of spaces that a kid should most definitely not be on whatsoever. Especially on applications like Instagram and TikTok, where a lot of the time kids fall into the spaces of adults. Most of the time, these children don't see anything really related to them whatsoever. Because of this, a lot of the time we've got little girls out here who don't even love the faces that they've been given. Or even little boys who don't even believe that they're man enough to do a single thing for their household. And because of this, a lot of the time children fall into adult spaces and situations with a childish mindset. There's a reason why children are described as young and impressionable. And there used to be a reason why children were never allowed to interact with adult media or entertainment. Because these expectations that they fall into aren't their own. They're for adults, not them. And if children are put into spaces where they're not able to be kids, a lot of the time it just turns messy. And we've all seen situations where children have been taken advantage of because they don't know any better. And because of this, we can't deny the fact that a lot of the time parents don't care about their own kids. The best examples for this are children who are media stars or actors. From the moment kids were allowed to become actors, we've seen a lot of situations where kids have been exploited by adults. From things like lewd acts to even sexual innuendos to a literal child. Too many of these situations have always occurred, especially in these spaces. There's barely been any cases to begin with where children haven't been exploited in any type of way. These little children don't even have fully developed brains and they're put into positions where even adults can't even cope. And when we see bad situations like this, we end up seeing the negative results of what happens. There's too many examples where we've seen children being scarred from these spaces and environments by these adults. We've got examples like Justin Bieber, Jayden Smith, and even Lil RT who are just prime examples of what it is when a child is being exploited by adults. Side note too, because I have a bone to pick with Lil RT's parents, because what's going on here? Not only is Lil RT a literal child, realistically, he don't even know any of what he's doing at all. I swear he can barely even understand half the stuff that's going on around him. He probably thinks it's fun. They let this kid talk about literally anything and everything in his songs, and it's actually disgusting. I swear he even has a verse where he's talking about a girl sucking on his Johnson. They got this little boy talking about toting guns, killing people, and making money. And what makes it worse is that he doesn't even know how to read. And I get that he's a 7-year-old, but at the same time, he can't read at his age level. Bro, what's going on? And along with all the negative stuff going on around him, he's literally got adults doing weird stuff in front of him and putting him in weird situations for a child. One prime example is the fact that they literally have him on a 20v1 with grown-ass women shaking their booty meats in front of this child. Why are these grown-ass women trying to dress up in promiscuous clothing to be auctioned off to a 7-year-old? This doesn't make any sense. And this is the type of behavior that's being celebrated? Why is it that we champion this ignorant behavior? And why is it that no one has made any serious outrage about it whatsoever? And why is it that his parents have not done a single thing about it to protect their child? We no longer bring up children for doing the right thing, and a lot of the time we just let the ones that are doing wrong just continue to do wrong. Why did we stop bringing up people who aren't doing ignorant things? There's so many people out here who are making money and doing the right thing, but for some reason we always have our eyes on the people doing wrong or making it harder for other people to live. And I completely understand Lil RT's age and what he's doing, but I'm gonna be so real with y'all, none of that is relevant. We're seeing a kid being exploited by his own parents and the people around him for success and money. And no matter what, at the end of the day, we're literally watching someone being traumatized. How we gonna make noise when people be taking their kids to inappropriate places, but at the same time we have children that are like this? who are being celebrated for the wrong things. It just doesn't make any sense. Now back to the main topic, because in reality, a lot of these environments are really bad for kids. All these spaces are mentally scarring for them, and let's be so damn real. Disney and Nickelodeon have been doing this for so many years, and to be honest, we just turn a blind eye to all of it. There's a reason why a lot of the children grow outside of the stardom and leave these spaces. And the craziest part about it is that it still goes back to the parents as well. Because why is it that in each and every one of these situations, children aren't even taken into consideration whatsoever by their own parents? And at the end of the day, most of these children are being written off by their parents for a check. They genuinely have no care about their kids whatsoever. And let's be so honest, because there's a lot of children in these spaces, so many kids in this day and age want to be a part of entertainment than anything else. Instead of teaching children good values or training them to be better people, a lot of the time parents would rather put a screen in their faces. I said this before, and in my personal life, my mother, no matter what or how much work she was doing, she would always go out of her way to train me. My mother instilled into my mind the idea of wanting to learn, independence, and she taught me how to respect the people around me. And even at the times when she wasn't at home, I was still able to take care of myself because of what she had taught me. And I was home alone almost every single day. And because of the lessons that I learned from her, I never lost it whatsoever. Because to be honest, no matter how many bad influences I had or things that I saw, I never lost that type of mindset. And that goes back to the main reason why I made this video, because for some reason, there's a certain type of mindset going on that keeps blurring the line between what is for kids and what is for adults. And the thing is, no matter how many times people try to point it out, no one is able to do anything about it. Realistically, I'm seeing adults going into kids' spaces and ruining it for the kids as a whole. Kids can't play no games without being harassed by some adults saying that they're a squeaker or something. Even though at the same time, these same adults are playing these kids' games. And yes, we can always go back to the parents, but at the same time, when a space is built for kids, let it be for kids. I think people really forgot the fact that kids are going to end up inheriting the world when we're gone or when we can't even do nothing for ourselves. And what's crazy is that adults would complain about kids acting in a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, it's these same adults pushing the content that causes these kids to act in the way they're acting. No one wants to pay more attention to the children anymore, and a lot of the time we just use them for our own selfish gain. It's kind of crazy because nowadays children are literally playing adult with a childlike perspective. It's like we're all playing a game at house, and for some reason only the kids are the adults in the situation. And I'm gonna be so real, it's getting very disgusting to see, because too many kids are being put into these weird situations where adults are just taking advantage of them. Whether it be what they're watching or even the process of making children self-conscious of what they are and making them buy things in which they don't need, it really just makes it difficult for kids to be kids. So now, the reason why we stopped thinking about the children is because adults in this generation are passing down trauma to children who don't understand what's going on or what's happening in their minds. And it's becoming quite obvious that adults these days don't want to grow up at all. Adults these days are steady trying to be hip with the kids instead of trying to act their own age. And it's crazy because we know your old ass is getting wrinkly or your hair follicles are leaving you. And because of this, a lot of these adults have a lack of understanding and self-awareness when it involves themselves. So much so to the point that when they have kids, they don't know what to pass down or how to take care of these little dudes. And because of this, they leave a screen to teach their child about everything and anything about the world, even though they don't even know how to navigate their own household. The parents of these children are extremely selfish. And at the end of the day, we all know that their stupid ass kids are gonna end up not knowing shit, they can't read for shit, and they sure as hell can't speak or write well enough for people to even understand them. And we all know when it's natural selection time, misery loves company, and they'll end up breeding another stupid ass child into this world. But this is the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If I missed anything, leave a comment down below. God bless y'all and have a nice day.
Like this, time to get rich.